All right. Obviously, we're going to start off with Chelsea versus West Ham. Look, new season, same Chelsea. Just the whole team, shit. I'll give,
No.
I'll give one player a praise. Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
He actually,
Well felt.
attacked the defense. Created a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Actually looked half decent. He looked like the prime Raheem Sterling we've all gotten to know over the years, and that was promising to see because he's been a bit hit or miss since he came to Chelsea last season. But he looked good. It's just the rest of the team just dropped off. Actually, congrats to Carney Chukwuemeka on scoring his first goal. First senior goal at all.
Yeah, he didn't even score a Villa.
He didn't score a Villa. No.
Yeah.
19 years old. Wishing him a speedy recovery because after his goal he got injured.
What's going on there?
It's not sure yet, but he was seen leaving the stadium on crutches. So,
Jeez Louise. There's a lot of precautionary stuff that happens these days, though.
Yeah. He wasn't putting any pressure on that leg at all, I don't think.
But that's the best thing you can do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, with today's, like, what they know about injuries and whatnot, obviously, less pressure, the quicker turnaround. But anyway, continue.
But, back to the lads. It's Caicedo didn't start. He came off the bench. Lavia did not start. He didn't come on at all. So hopefully we can get that midfield ticking in the weeks to come. Because like first week against Liverpool, it looked promising, but this week West Ham was a reality check that the team still has a lot of work to do to get cohesive, to get the goals flowing.
Yep.
Nico Jackson, whilst he looks promising as well, he's still only 21, 22 years old. He's strong, he's fast, he's skillful.
This guy knows how to use his body, man.
Yeah, it's just he needs to work on it. Even last week I was saying he needs to work on the clinical aspect, the killer instinct in the box. Hopefully it can be coached into him, but we'll see about that. Obviously, no Nkunku yet. Missing that. Missed out on Elise as well. Ended up signing a new deal at Palace.
Yeah, you triggered the clause, but then Palace is reverse Uno'd you, bro. Straight up.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Apparently we were being a bit dodgy in how we approached the player. Apparently we were like talking to him before, or we had like players that were mates with, because he used to be in Chelsea's academy back in the day.
Okay, yeah.
We had like players that were talking to him before we even triggered the release clause and got permission to speak to the player or something like that. But they call it tapping up.
So what Hendo tried to do with Bellingham?
Kinda. But how do you stop these players from talking to each other? Elise was in the Chelsea academy. He's obviously mates with some of these guys.
Yeah.
So how do you stop that? Apparently Palace had some proof of tapping up and was going to take it to the tribunal, and then we backed out.
There might have been numbers already dropped, like put forward to him before any agreement was between the club. But what's the difference between that and Nkunku last season and agreeing with you guys in principle before his contract runs out, where he was?
His contract didn't run out.
No, it
didn't run out. We got him for 60 million.
So how come there was no agreed fee at first?
No, I think
it was the contract went through first. It sounded like, or it was agreement in principle with the player, and then the fee. So you know what I mean? Like that confuses me a bit.
I'm not exactly sure how it all works.
No, but it's a lot of legal.
Interesting.
How do I put it?
Lingo,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot of confusing stuff. Sounds like.
Yeah, it is a lot of confusing stuff. But I'm pretty sure. I don't know I think Palace were scared of losing him for 35 mil because I think they messed up when they did that contract and put a 35 mil release clause on him, because he's only 20 years old and got 11 assists last season, 2 goals.
One of them was a belter against us too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Equal 4th highest assists in the Premier League. So if he keeps going his trajectory, he's going to be worth well over 35 mil. So I think that's another reason why he also signed that contract extension, because I think now if he still has a release clause, it's going to be a lot more, or they're going to be trying to squeeze a lot more money out of him than 35 mil. So I think they were scared to lose him for that price, to be honest.
Well, congratulations, City. You're going to be getting him in a couple of seasons. So he's primed and ready to go for you guys. Well done.
120 mil, something like that.
I'm going to throw something ridiculous at him, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just taking the piss.
Yeah, the attack looks like it's lacking the finishing touch, which is the exact same to how it was last season. But yeah, we also need to get that get the whole team clicking, because all the goals we conceded were just silly mistakes. It was a cracking goal from Antonio, though. I'll give him that.
You know what? I completely agree with you. It was silly mistakes.
Yeah.
I think the scoreline does not reflect how that game went at all.
Because with silly mistakes, you can see the first goal, then we leveled it up.
The first half was really good.
Yeah. The first half was alright, and then the second half it looked a little bit off. Defensively, it was still alright, but like we said, silly mistakes. And then they actually went down to 10 men.
And then still
second yellow, and then they just sat back, and then Caicedo actually gave away that penalty. Yeah. Silly mistake.
Yeah, very, very expensive. Very expensive penalty that one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so Caicedo gave away that penalty, and it was a silly tackle. I saw when the final whistle blew, he dropped down to his knees and started praying. So that's kind of sad.
Probably thinking, Lord have mercy on my soul, bro.
Maybe debut nerves. But I think he'll take, him and Enzo need to, play a bit more together, get used to each other, and then I think that midfield get clicking, and Lavia as well.
I think that game against Liverpool, I think it was a good matchup for you guys, and I think it was a game in which we hadn't seen previously, and in terms of it was very exciting. So I think you guys got excited. I think there's still a little bit. It was just a little tinsy wincy bit of a wake up call. I feel just a little one. I'm not saying it's wake up. You guys finished 13th last season, that sort of thing. It wasn't that sort of thing. It was just more okay, let's settle down here a bit. 2 games in, just give it a bit of time. I think your midfield, you said, need a gel.
Yeah, sure. It was a wake up call. Yeah, it's playing Liverpool and playing West Ham, whilst Liverpool's obviously a much better team. It's 2 different games. Liverpool, you're playing on the counter attack more often. You're playing, Liverpool's not parking the bus as West Ham will be doing. Or did do.
Absolutely.
So breaking down a team that's sitting defensive versus breaking down Liverpool, who's playing expansive, is 2 completely different things. Yeah. So we need to work on breaking down these teams. That's why our next game against Luton, I'm not even confident. We should be able to do it, but
I said, it's a little tinsy wincy wake up call. Don't get too shell shocked. I think you'll be all right in that game.
I think maybe Caicedo should get his first start, but we'll see. We'll talk about that in the previews. Yeah. And so we talked about 100 million signing, conceding a penalty. Let's talk about the other missing a penalty or getting it saved.
Enzo.
Something about these Argentinian lads, Messi, Higuain, Enzo. Get him off penalties, honestly. What's going on?
I don't know. It was
bang average penalty.
It's pressure on him. Yeah. Areola, he's a good keeper, but like you said, it was bang average. In the middle of the to Areola's right side. So it was a bit how you going?
Yeah. Look, I guess last season it was Jorginho taking the penalties. I'm actually not sure who took over penalties after he left last season, but now it looks like he's on penalties. Maybe Reece. I feel like Reece James is pretty good at penalties, so he might be on it if he's fit. But obviously he's injured. He's got at least a couple weeks out now.
I thought it was a lot longer.
At first, they feared it was months, but Poch said more likely weeks. So that's good. Good news. But we'll see how it goes. I just hope that they don't rush him back, because we've got good, adequate cover now in Malo Gusto.
If I'm honest with you, man, that guy's always going to be like that. No, not Gusto. James.
Oh, yeah,
will always be like that. Honestly,
Yeah,
I think he's had. You can say it's bad luck, but I just think he's not there
it's
physically.
hamstring after hamstring after hamstring. Like I'm just hoping that with Malo Gusto, he can get more rest, and that can just help the
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. But
I
yeah,
think it was a good. I think he was a good recruit for sure for
yeah,
because
good
I think
cover.
you guys are understood. I think you guys know. I just find it funny, not funny, but I find it strange how you do bring in Gusto for as just as a backup. But he's a decent, but giving James the captaincy, not knowing whether he's going to be able to play full 90s every week. Like he got subbed off. I get it in the first game he got subbed off against Liverpool, didn't he?
Yeah, Poch said he didn't look like he got injured.
I think he must have,
Apparently,
man.
he must have felt tightness or something. He walked
Mm.
off. He walked off just fine. And Poch said in the post game interview that he was just tired.
Yeah,
It sounds like a
yeah.
cover up, but
I think
and then
so.
the story apparently in training the next couple of days, like a couple of days later, then the injury showed up in training. But I don't know, just hamstring
Mm.
after hamstring.
Yeah, but it's like, what's the motive behind hiding it? I don't know, but it's just weird.
Maybe they weren't sure, so they didn't want to say anything.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. But I think if it was like first game back injury, it's like I think the captaincy thing definitely would have been questioned.
Yeah, but I really don't know who else we would have given the captaincy to, other than because I think
Yeah.
I'll give you quickly the only players that we have left from the most recent Champions League victory: Reece James, Ben Chilwell, and Thiago Silva.
Oh my
And
god,
it stops
Silva
there.
was in that team,
Yeah,
man. Wow, like
yeah.
I think that goes to show. I think Silva
So I
should
think
take up that mantle. Should
yes,
have. Sorry.
but even I think even he said that at the when we got kicked out of the Champions League last season, because obviously we weren't going to qualify again. When we got kicked out last season, he said, "Yes, it's sad to have just played my last Champions League game because this season we're not in Champions League." So
Oh no. Retiring or gonna move
I
elsewhere.
think this is going to be his last year with Chelsea. So
Sorry, yeah,
giving
yeah.
him the captaincy for one season is kind of like, I don't know. Is there a point to it? Like
No,
obviously,
yeah.
like so they
Needs
gave the
stability.
long-term captain should be Reece James, and then Ben Chilwell got the vice captaincy. And if they're both not on the field, Thiago Silva will take the armband.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there's not, to be honest, the team's so young. I just don't know who else would have taken it.
Yeah, you're in a tough spot. You're in a tough spot. Like you said, yeah, you guys are really investing in your future at the moment. It's just, yeah, who's the
Yeah.
headstrong players out of them all? Look, looking from the outside in, you can't really tell at this point, excluding, your Jameses and Silver and Chilwell. So yeah, I think yeah, I don't know. I'm not too sure with Chilwell. I don't know, like in terms of how he's on the pitch and how much of a say he has, like in terms of dictating where people play. But I feel like in his position you can't really do that much. I think fullbacks back in the day could do that. I think now these days they have more of an attacking role and sort of like there is a lot. I think they do play a lot bigger role, but I feel
Yeah.
like in terms of being that anchor, I think a captain should be more of an anchor in a team. Like I'm just gonna bring it to United and Bruno. I love the fact he's captain. I think he's the most passionate person there is on the pitch. You see it week by week, but again, I'm still questioning Bruno, if I'm honest. So all I'm saying in all of this is, yeah, you Chelsea, yeah, definitely are in a bit of a tough spot in terms of selecting your future captain for sure.
Yeah.
Look, James I understand that, but long term, let's say,
You need your captain to be on the pitch all the time. So we'll, with the cover we've got now, we can give him a bit more rest. But yeah, we'll see how that transpires.
yeah,
I think the only other real option you could, other than Chilwell, other than Silva, in the future maybe Levi Colwill. I mean, he took John Terry's number 26. So
he goes in hard too, man.
does.
He loves
Yeah.
going in, bro.
Yeah. And I think he's, at least for now, he's locked down that starting position.
Yeah, yeah.
He's definitely going to be given a long run there, and hopefully he continues his upward trajectory as well. But yeah, just this whole team, you can see they've still got a lot of work to do. And Poch's got a lot of work to do in getting the whole team clicking. It's majority a whole new staff as well, pretty much. So it's a whole new everything really.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that all goes. Also, did you just want to answer a question that no one's asked me, but I'm going to answer it anyway?
Sorry.
Is
Don't
how is Chelsea spending so much money?
You know what? That's what I've actually really been curious. But we sort of I'm not saying I'm not saying it was a guess or anything the other week, but I just feel like you did mention that you guys have been selling a bit, but wow, you guys have been spending a lot. Can you try and justify it for me, please, before I put you in the same bracket as City, because it's getting dangerously close now, mate. Honestly, after the Casado move now and Lavia as well, it's getting a bit. How you going?
All right, so I've got a word, and it's called amortization. All right, you heard of this word before?
I haven't read my dictionary, mate. So no.
So basically, how transfer moves work is, if you spend 100 mil on a player, and he signs a 4-year deal. For instance, this is an example. This is not Caicedo or Enzo or anyone. This is hypothetical. You spend 100 mil on a player, he signs a 4-year deal. You amortize that transfer fee over the 4 years, over the length of the contract. So that's 20. So according to FFP, that's 25 mil per year for 4 years, right? So what we've done is, pretty much every player has signed a 7 or 8 year deal. So we've spread that. So this is last season. We've spread that over 7 or 8 years. So Enzo's fee is spread over 8 years because he signed a 7-year deal with eighth year option, which we activated after like a month. Wow. Because he's that good. Right? Yeah. He didn't have the greatest performance against West Ham, but he's that good. Trust me. And basically, since the Todd Bowley takeover, the Blues after this is after the Lavia deal has spent 900 million euros or pounds, sorry, and that's after the Caicedo and Lavia moves. Now, pretty much, that's between the takeover and now, and that's almost 20 to 30 players. Right, and wow. Then majority of I think the oldest one out of that lot's like 22, like Enzo 22.
I just wonder how that payment structure would go, but continue.
Yeah. Anyways, complex. Pretty much all of these players signed 8-year contracts, right? And what in that first transfer window when we got Enzo, that's how it worked. It amortized over the 8 years. Now in the latest transfer window, the FFP, FIFA, and all that, they actually changed it. The Premier League changed it so you can only amortize 5 years, no matter the length of the contract.
Yep.
So basically, what that has come down to, I'll give you some numbers, right? So let's see now. They've spent £600 million last year. Okay. And that capitalized over 8 years because of all the length of the contracts. That 600 million averages about 75 million per season, right? So that means our spend last year was 75 million because you divide you divide the 600 million by 8, right? And then this year's spend being 300 million, and you have to, because of the rule changes, you amortize that over 5 years. That becomes 60 million per year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you add them two together. I'm losing my numbers. 75 last year plus 60 mil this year. And then what happens then is we've gone and sold this during this time 250 million worth of players. So which means Havertz for 60 mil, Mount for 55, right? So now what's happened is first you have to take into account. Sorry if I'm rambling on.
That's all right. No, I'm listening.
But for instance, Kai Havertz sold for 60 million roughly, and he was bought for 60 million, right? And because of the length of his contract, at the time we sold him, he was carrying a cost still of about 25 million. So sold for 60 million actually brought us a 35 mil profit, right? Because
he did nothing to justify that. Holy shit.
And then same with Mason Mount. We sold him for roughly 55, 60 million, and because he's an academy player, that's 60 mil profit.
Bro, do you know that 6 months under Tuchel is the thing that did that for you guys?
Yeah.
Just that 6 months.
Yeah. So, wow. So after all these players sold, it's roughly 200 million in transfer gains. So after that 250 million sold, about 200 million of that is profit.
Yep.
Right? And then at the moment, our transfer spend is 135 million because it's a 60 plus a 75. So which means we're actually 65 million pounds in credit right now.
That's wow. Okay.
So we've spent 900 million, made 250 million, but because of the amortization over the length of the contract, we're currently 65 million in profit, according to FFP. So
they've got some crazy lawyers, bro.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, crazy accountants there, bro. They've got some forensic accountants working day and fucking night, man. Holy shit, they don't get no sleep, man.
Nah. If you followed that whole thing, well done.
You've probably got a degree in accounting for sure. That's a bit of simple maths.
So. But the thing is, right, so it's 135 mil a year for the length of these contracts, right? So that's for the next 8 years. So whilst we're 65 mil in profit, next year, you're going to have to take another 135 mil off that too. So then we'll be in debt.
Yeah, no, I get that because it all comes next year. Yeah.
Slowly. So it's sort of like he's taking a risk with financial fair play. Like this could backfire. This is why they're very much at risk of running FFP unless they, qualify for the Champions League. Then you get a payout. Then just qualifying gets you like 40 mil. Yeah. And then depending on how far you go, you could go. You go to get out of the group stages, goes up to like 60 mil rewards. Yeah. And then you go further, it gets to 80 mil. So that's why placing in the league, especially this season, is huge.
Because if you don't, that leaves you very vulnerable in the market.
Yeah.
Very vulnerable because at the end of the day, you guys could get really desperate in terms of if you don't get your return on your players, you don't finish in the spots you need to.
Yeah.
And you need to start offloading players in order to start spending elsewhere. You could be tied up with the players you don't want. You could be playing the game you don't want to play and end up with a manager you don't need.
Yeah. It's risky move.
I'm shaking hearing that for you guys, man. It's risky. It is. But
so because what we've done is it's also what's forcing us to sell Lewis Hall to Newcastle for, I think it's a 1 year loan with an obligation to buy for 35 mil, right? And that's an academy player, so that's 35 profit right there. And then which obviously we just got rid of Ziyech, but that's for free. That's just get his wage off the books. Yeah. Trying to get Lukaku gone because he's one of I think him and Sterling are the highest paid players at the club.
Look, Sterling coming in at the time at that point, fair enough. Lukaku though, a bit different.
Yeah, Lukaku no. But
bit of a rot.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
So we could, I think the plan is here, what it looks like is he's bought up behind the scenes. So if I ask you, what players has Bowley signed this window and last window? What are the main players he signed? Because I just told you we've signed about 20 to 30 players. You couldn't name all of them, could you?
Absolutely not. None that are going to prove tomorrow that they're going to be game winners. No.
So a lot of these players are actually like 18, 19-year-old. We've bought like 3 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds from Brazil, wonder kids from like Santos. I want to say David Wellington, Andrew Santos, and Angelo Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard any of those names yet?
No.
Andrew Santos and Angelo Gabriel played in preseason.
Yeah.
Wellington's only just got over the line now, I believe. Santos is in the squad. Gabriel's on loan at Strasbourg, which is the club we own now. We literally bought that club for like the same fee we sold Havertz for.
Oh my god! You know what he's gonna end? Do you know what Bolly's gonna end up doing now? He's gonna start buying clubs.
Yeah, it's a multi-mod. It's like City.
No. But like in order to like acquire players for that purpose, bro. Why not? Cause like look. At the end of the day, like in terms of farming talent,
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way in terms of long term in like these buying these young players, loaning them back out to his other club. I don't know what the financial fair play is with there, but in terms of trying to get that return, investing in that sister club or whatever brother club you want to call it, however you want to call it, and then trying to get the best out of what you've invested in.
Yeah, I don't think we've actually bought any players from there, but actually Patrick Vieira is managing that team now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he's got one player on loan from Chelsea there, which is Angelo. And we'll see how that goes. We got more players. Andriy Payev is like a Ecuadorian wonder kid's like 17 years old. Snapped him up as well. Who else? Cesar Casade, who's at loan, Italian 19-year-old or 20-year-old on loan at Leicester. Just scored on his debut there.
In the championship. Now. Wow, yeah. Nah, but still, that's still amazing effort.
Yeah.
That young man. Wow.
And we got some 18-year-old wonder kid, Diego Moreira from Benfica. There's some wonder kid apparently there. So we're snapping the amount of players we've signed. Most of them you won't have even heard of. It seems like he's planning to not spend any more money for the next 10 years. If all goes to plan. And hopefully they can make enough money from, you got your shirt sales, you got your memberships, you got your TV rights, you got your sponsorships that they still don't have on the front of the top yet, but and then they got the prize money from their performances. Hopefully they can, make enough money to get them over the line. But
it's making me really nervous for you guys. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's got a plan. And with all of this talent we've got, that if we don't finish top 4 or at least in Europe, in Europa League or something.
Yeah.
Honestly, just mid-table club us, honestly. It's a big risk, possibly big reward.
Potentially, but it's like, do you need, like we've seen in football in the past, and like I've spoken about time and time again about you guys, I don't think you need that long term of investment in football. I just, like, at the end of the day, I think what you guys used to do was great, and I think it worked now. Obviously, I think your philosophy is completely, like, reversed on itself. It's like completely just flipped on itself. Like, now that you've got new owners, now they're looking for the future. Like, sure, they're splashing big now, but they're splashing big on young, like, prodigies, so oh man, that's like, at the end of the day, I feel like, it's sort of like he's right. He sounds like a betting man. He sounds like a gambler in all of this. He sounds like a proper gambler, and hopefully it works out, because it's very risky.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see it not working out because of the talent that's there. Like, all right, a little bit of bias here, but I see it working. Like, I see the promise there. Like, for me, Enzo's different gravy.
Yeah,
honestly. Yeah. I think Caicedo will, once he settles in, he'll become that midfield duo, and then Lavia as well will become unreal. But it's just going to take time to get working. I did anticipate a slow start for Chelsea. The Liverpool game got me a bit hyped up, but I did anticipate a slow start.
I'm just looking at your whole squad that went to West Ham. Look, mate. I look. You may see it, and there may be the case, and like you said, like you have a lot of faith in your youngsters, but that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Like you said, like you brought up the point in terms of like can you name them? And I responded with, is there really a match winner amongst all like your substitutes? You've got Mudryk being.
It's more like potential match winning, game changing players. Potential,
right?
The players I'd say are ready now are like Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Enzo, Thiago Silva, obviously. I feel Colwell's ready to start in the Premier League. Sanchez is okay. Sterling on his day. It just depends which Sterling you get. Jackson's a work in progress. Chukwuemeka's a work in progress. Mudryk. Let's be real, Gallagher's. I love Gallagher and all. He gives everything, but he's a mid-table player.
Thank you. I didn't have to say it. That was literally going to be my next point. I was like, he's not. I think he's mid-table starter at best, and I think he's a good player, but he doesn't. His potential, his ceiling in terms of his potential isn't that high. I don't think. No. He's not going to get much better, I reckon.
Yeah, he loves the club. He works hard. He wants to stay and fight for his place, but I just don't see it.
I don't either, mate. I really don't.
I think if he did leave this window though, then we'd be a little shortchanged in midfield, depending on the system Poch wants to use. If he's using a 3-back, then maybe we'll be alright. But with just 2 midfielders, if we're gonna switch to a 3-man midfield, then we might need him to stay. Because we might need he's a workhorse after all. He actually did have a good game against Liverpool, to be fair. But yeah, we also do have a lot of injuries as well. But, Fofana, Nkunku, Chukwuemeka now.
Yeah.
Reece James, obviously. It's rough, but hopefully we can get it all working. I don't know what the medical team's doing, man. But
2 of those 3 players you listed, you've brought in this year, right?
Who? Fofana was last year.
No, Nkunku. And you brought
Chukwuemeka came last January with Enzo. Same.
But in terms of he's
only started really playing now.
Yeah, that's what. I'm sorry, that's what I meant. It's like now it's just like let's see if it all comes together like we mentioned earlier. Yeah. Let's see if it all just gels. Let's see if let's see what your best 11 is. I think you guys are still figuring that out.
Yeah, still figuring it out. It's still we got to remember it is very much a rebuilding season. And also remember with all the youngsters that he's buying up, we do still have the academy going, it's been one of the best academies for a long time. And remember this, we are single-handedly responsible for Newcastle's future fullbacks. And it's going to be one of the best fullback pairings in the league. Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento. They just signed. They're going to sign Lewis Hall, and they've already got Livramento.
Livramento, he went to Southampton for a bit.
He got relegated with Southampton, but he's still a great prospect, and he's going to go and learn off Trippier and slowly take over that.
He actually had a purple patch when he was at Southampton. I remember that. Yeah.
I'll be honest, Lewis Hall gets straight into that starting lineup over Dan Burn.
Yeah, please. I think he's like the final piece in that squad that's to give away. I think.
Bro's 18 years old as well.
Oh my god. Well, at the end
he was playing over Cucurella. Do I have to say much more?
No, but at the end of the day, you did buy Cucurella thinking he would be something special too.
Hey, City wanted him as well.
Yeah, I know, and he looked really good. But like we'll touch on in the review preview about Brighton, I think it's more about how they've played in the past. That's really what that elevates and make players look really good.
Yeah,
really good. So I'm not going to say that's the case with Caicedo either. I'm definitely not saying that at all whatsoever. Look, we had the chance to sign Caicedo for 5 mil back in the day before Brighton, so I'm not gonna talk. I'm not gonna talk in terms of investment and whatnot because Caicedo could actually end up being unbelievable, and he was unbelievable for Brighton last year. Let's see if he can just translate that at Chelsea.
Let's just get De Zerbi.
He's gonna be no. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
we'll talk about he will be the next big manager, I believe, man.
Yeah,
I believe.